My name is Brandon Stieg. I'm a metal and wood sculptor in West Marin. I've been working in metal and wood for the past 20 to 25 years. I started out working primarily in wood, and I did a lot of joinery work and worked as a carpenter through college, and eventually started working doing commissioned carvings when I lived in Tahoe for large Tahoe homes, a lot of bears and eagles and things like that. When that got old, I started doing my own thing, and I went on from there. I ended up kind of evolving into working with metal a lot more for both work and for fun. And now I work probably about 80% in metal and the other 20% in wood. So my background is varied. In terms of professional training, I did study art and architecture in school, but I would say I'm primarily self-taught. I would take a class here and there or take classes that I was interested in to get myself going or learn enough to be dangerous, so to speak. And then I'd go back to my own space and really dive in and learn myself. YouTube, of course, has been a constant educator for me. Taken lots of classes over the years of all sorts, from blacksmithing to metal working to jewelry making. But usually it's day one, day two. Once I have enough to go, I'm off and running and tend to be more self-taught than anything else. Well, the background is varied. I would say as a kid, I always kind of considered myself an artist or identified as an artist. I was an only child, and so I spent a lot of time drawing at home and working in my dad's shop, messing around with his tools and making all kinds of things from throwing stars to little figures. So I think in terms of identifying as an artist, that's always been a part of my life and something that I felt like I was going to fall back on no matter what. It was kind of the core identifying part of who I am. But so my background was a lot in drawing and painting, and then I graduated to carving in wood and creating sculptures in wood, and then into metal. The future, right now I'm working primarily in metal and wood, and I've kind of learned what I can do in those mediums, and I think I'm going to continue to work in those mediums. I don't see myself going into another medium at this point, but I'm a little bit of a, some of the galleries that I work with would consider me an ADD artist because the work is so different from one medium to the next. The woodwork is extremely it's oversimplified, where the metal work is very detailed and complex. So finding that balance between those two mediums has been a journey, so to say. Finding something where I can keep myself fulfilled, but also be able to produce work at the same time. I spend a lot of time in the outdoors, so I surf. A lot of my art is influenced by the ocean, so you'll see in a lot of my metal work, sea creatures and octopuses and urchins and things of that sort. In a lot of the wood, it's natural stacked stones. So kind of pursuing balance in that respect is something that I like to represent in the artwork that I do. I have never felt like I've reached the pinnacle of what I do, or I don't know that I ever will, quite honestly. I'm constantly in pursuit of being better at whatever it is I'm working on. Being interested in a wide variety of art, it's difficult in the respect that I'm not super specialized in one medium or the other, so I'm always learning a new technique. And really what I've found and kind of come to terms with over time is that the journey is really what I'm after. It's not necessarily the end product or what I'm creating. It's the process of creating it that I really enjoy. And once I recognized that, it really alleviated a lot of the frustration in the process and made everything a lot more enjoyable. And as a result, the art ended up being a lot better. I think for any new artist, it can be difficult to allow yourself to make mistakes and try new things. I think a lot of artists tend to want to become perfect or be very good at what they're after right away, and I think that only comes with a lot of experimentation, at least in my experience. I have the luxury of having a son that's interested in being an artist, and watching him grow and kind of evolve has been a learning experience for me, because I'm able to kind of reflect back on my own journey to get where I'm at, and recognize that I didn't quite give myself enough room to make mistakes and to really branch out in what I was doing. I really wanted everything to be perfect, and that's limiting in itself. So making mistakes and trying new things, I think that's a pretty important part of the process. Make mistakes, try new things. Don't be afraid to, don't worry about what other people think. I think, it's kind of the conundrum that I experience showing in a gallery, where when you're making a piece for the gallery, you're constantly thinking in the back of your head, or you can anyway, I have in the past, be considering throughout the process how it's going to be viewed, and I think that's the mistake. I find that the best art that I create anyway is when I'm doing it entirely for myself and for my own reasons, and not for anybody else. I think that's when you end up putting something out there that someone might actually like to see. Hi, I'm Brandon Stieg. I'm an artist here in West Marin. Thanks for coming along for the studio tour.